Добрый день, с вами Эдгар Изаев, интернет-издание «Позиция» и проект «Дело правды». Наша цель – помощь тем, кто потерял любую надежду в поисках правды. Мы помогаем там, где бездействуют госорганы, которые на самом деле должны защищать интересы простых граждан. К нам обратились жители города Калининграда с просьбой осветить ту экологическую катастрофу, которая происходит в их городе. Мы провели свое независимое расследование и узнали, почему эту тему до сих пор замалчивают.
Kaliningrad is an ancient and beautiful city. Clean Baltic coast, numerous preservation areas. All this is so close to every citizen's heart. Tourists also do not remain indifferent to the local places. Unfortunately, everything that is so important to people can be poisoned and killed due to the inaction of individual companies and individuals in particular. The thirst for profit provoked environmental crimes, as a result of which hundreds of hectares of Kaliningrad land are contaminated with the chemical substances of the first class of danger. The poisons, being in the earth and water, poison all living things.
Компания ООО «Союз» работает в Калининградской области уже более 15 лет. И к ней очень много вопросов.
In the early 2000s, in Kaliningrad, businessman Sergei Vasilyev began working on the territory of an abandoned coke and gas plant. He built workshops for the production of food ingredients on it. The mandatory conditions of the transfer of a 16-hectare site were also spelled out in the documents. Resolution of the Mayor of Kaliningrad, number 292 of 26 January 2005, carrying out works on the study of the level of chemical pollution, destruction of sources of pollution, reclamation and cleaning of the soil. Meanwhile, on February 22, 2006, it was publicly reported that 410 tons of highly toxic waste of the coke and gas industry was taken from the territory of the former enterprise Cox in Kaliningrad to the municipal landfill located near the village of Kruglovo, Zelenogradsky district. The Kaliningrad Region's Prosecutor's Office initiated criminal proceedings under Article 247 of the RF Criminal Code, violation of the rules for handling environmentally hazardous substances and waste. Interestingly, Soyuz TTM LLC obtained a statement from one of the local laboratories that the waste they were exporting was in the fifth, the lowest hazard class. However, a study conducted by Rostechnadzor specialists in the Northwestern Federal District showed that the samples of desulfurization mass belong to the first, the most hazardous class. It is important to emphasize that the problem is not just that Soyuz Corporation incorrectly considers the exported waste to be the lowest hazard class. The specified amount of waste exported, 410 tons, is far too little when it comes to reclaiming the area occupied by the production facility. Thus, tens of thousands of tons of Class 1 hazardous waste remain to be removed from the area. It is still buried in the ground and finds its way to the water. But it is almost as if this has been forgotten. The story with the unauthorized removal is cut short by the fact that a criminal case has been opened and the prosecutor's office has ordered Soyuz TTM to suspend removal of the remaining waste from the territory of the former coke and gas plant. How this situation was resolved in court is unknown. It is suspected that the case was dismissed. Importantly, the result of soil analysis currently taken near the plant's walls make it clear that the harmful chemicals which had been accumulating there for almost a century and which were supposed to be disposed of using a special technology remained buried there as well.
Сегодня мы прилетели в Калининград, чтобы до конца разобраться в этой истории, поставить все точки над «и».
The results of the studies were shocking. one of the most toxic substances on the planet, benzopyrene had its acceptable limits exceeded 80 times over. The real horror lies in the fact that this poison we discovered on site reaches the river nearby through the groundwaters and then spreads everywhere. This potent carcinogen, once in a human body, causes irreversible consequences. Genetic mutations and oncology complications are just the tip of the iceberg. We reached out to the ecological organization Green Front for a commentary, and here is what they had to say.
В настоящий момент организация обратилась к нам и предоставила протоколы, где взяли они почву рядом с предприятием и проверили порядок показателей. И они оказались ужасающими. Значит, у нас по бензопирену в десятки раз превышения, по меди 80 раз и так далее. Это о чем говорит? Что, возможно, на этом месте раньше промышленные отходы не только захоранивались, но еще и сжигались. То есть эту почву надо рекультивировать и проверять это предприятие «Союз», что там находится сейчас.
Когда мы говорим о какой-то проблеме, нам всегда интересно узнать мнение жителей этого города. Давайте посмотрим, что они скажут.
Думаю, нет, но все равно будет работать.
Почему так думаете?
Потому что законодательство, наверное, у нас такое, что не ограничивает нас, не ограничивает работу предприятий, даже если они нарушают.
Нежелательно.
Почему?
Просто оно уничтожает природу.
То есть для вас это болезненная тема экологии вообще?
Вообще да. Хотелось жить с чистым воздухом и чистой водой.
Ну, мы считаем, что нет.
И что с таким предприятием надо делать тогда в итоге?
Ну, так у нас же есть какие-то такие организации, которые должны за этим следить. Значит, надо требовать что-то или какие-то санкции. Ну, как это? Мы и так уже скоро из Калининграда превратимся в пустыню. Я когда сюда приехала жить, ну, это были 50-е годы, это же был город-сад. Это же было цветы везде. Это вот таких одуванчиков не было. Все везде. Развалины и цветы.
There are signs of a serious struggle commencing in the Kaliningrad region. Local citizens are gathering signatures against the ongoing issue, calling out to the government not to turn a blind eye towards Soyuz activities. Meanwhile, the management of the enterprise, which is engaged in the food industry, has already been exposed for its lack of environmental expertise and non-compliance with the requirements in the field of environmental protection. But for some reason they got away with it. The employees of Soyuz TTM LLC, without suspecting anything, put themselves and their relatives at risk every day, just coming at work in the morning. And what happens to the flora and fauna of the region? The enterprise is located on the Pregolia River, where all those poisons end up with the groundwaters. Then they flow to the Baltic Sea. Almost every year there is a mass fish poisoning registered in Kaliningrad, and according to the UN data, Baltic Sea is considered the most polluted one in the world. Our children suffer from allergies and bronchopulmonary diseases, while the adults are plagued with asthma, oncological complications, and other terrible ailments. We are afraid that by taking advantage of its connections in the high state structures, this company will be able to avoid deserved responsibility and continue to slowly exterminate the residents of Kaliningrad region.
Все? Закрылись?
The regulatory authorities continue to work according to the official scheme. They refused to talk directly, so official requests were sent to them. As expected in our country, in response they sent only the replies, where government agencies pushed the responsibility for the environmental disaster on each other. The matters you raised are not subject to the sanitary regulations. The norms of hygiene are established for the dwellings. You are entitled to apply to Rosprirodnadzor, Ministry of the Natural Resources and Ecology of the Kaliningrad region. The data from the lab tests did not face Rospotrebnadzor either. In their opinion, chemicals discovered in the soil near the wall allegedly are not able to poison anyone. The following reply arrived from the Directorate of Rospotrebnadzor. It is the Directorate's opinion that the supposed excess of the maximum permissible concentration of chemical substances beyond the plant territory, taking into account the nature of Soyuz TTM LLC activities, has no capacity to impact the food products.
Что это? Халатность или коррупция? Выявленные независимым экспертом нарушения власти не хотят замечать. Между тем, экологические проблемы, которые посеяла корпорация «Союз», никуда не делись. Поэтому прошу считать этот выпуск официальным обращением в Генеральную прокуратуру Российской Федерации. Я повторяюсь, мы не обвиняем и не наказываем, но каждое дело достойно правды. С вами был Эдгар Изаев. До новых встреч!